Assalamualaikum. Assalamualaikum.
Bismillah, wa alaikum assalam, Sister Tamara. How you doing this evening, sister?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
All praises, Juma Mubarak. Juma
Doing my great.
Mubarak.
Thank you.
Just logging in, gonna get about 7 to 10 minutes, let everybody fall in real quick before we open up prayer, inshallah. Pray all is well with everyone.
Oh, inshallah. Thank you. Who am I speaking with?
This is Brother Mustafa, Sheikh Mustafa, Astaghfirullah.
Oh, yes. How you doing? How's your beautiful family?
Astaghfirullah, sister. Oh, everybody's well. Blessed, inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you.
Oh, how about yourself?
All is well, alhamdulillah.
We making it, trying to get out of this orange. Stay away from the orange.
Same here. Same here. Thank you for asking about it. We always.
Now, all is well. Allah is the best of planners. He gonna keep us through it all praises.
Yes.
I mean. Brother Noon, salam alaikum, Sister Steam, Oracle, good to see you, sister.
Salam, Brother Noon, and salam, Sister Zema.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody.
Alaikum salam, sister. Good to see you.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody.
Alaikum salam.
Alaikum salam.
All praises. Oracle, we know we're just gonna give it a chance for everyone to fall in. Inshallah. Did you want to open up for yourself? You want me to open up? Astaghfirullah, because that was
yeah, you go ahead. You the master.
Astaghfirullah. No, astaghfirullah. We're working on it. All praises, but inshallah, we give it about 7 minutes and we'll come back.
Okay, sounds good.
Better job. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله وهو العلي العظيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أستغفر الله به هدي Sheikh Sufi Ba هدي Darrah Manal Baki Kadim هدي Serene Sally Hu هدي Sheikh Wafal Dada Just Serene Tuba Astaghfirullah 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 Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik ala Sayyidina wa Malana Muhammadin wa alihi wa sahbihi wa taqabbal minni li wajhikal karimi kali ta'iban alayka bi astaghfirullah bihi astaghfirullah alazim wa atubu ilayhi min zawahidin wa min ghayub astaghfirullah alazim wa atubu ilayhi min zawahidin wa min ghayub sa'altuhu bahaqi wajlillahi maghfiratan min jumlatil manahi تبت له من جملة السجائر مع الكبائر ومن دمائر غفر لك في كل ما تقدم وما تأخر وما بينهما فهمني العلم وزدني علما وعملا وأدبا وفهما ربي اكشف العلوم نافية واجعل حياتي من شك إيمانيا اكشف لي الأسرار والغوامدا يا خير من كشف سرا غمدا ليجمع جميع ما تفرق لدى كتيمنا كري وسفيل كلدا يقول دا تفاكر الأعظمية بيبي كون وتاسيما كلامية أبلي يا أكرام في التلاوة كايران كثيرا منك والهلاوة بارك لي اللهم في حياتي وجعل فؤادي وتنال حياتي أبلي كوني بشرى كل من ياتوب ولي زواهر أبن ما الغيوب كابولا نكون به تائرا من الذنوب والمعاصي والآفات وحتى الآن كلا جنتا لاتي وإذا موتاكم برحمتك يا رحمن يا رحيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم 4 short surahs 4 times each inshallah. Brief open space for anybody who wants to try and practice after each one inshallah. Astaghfirullah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi wa huwal aliyyil azim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladhina an'amta alayhim. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim. Wala dolin. Ameen. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladhina an'amta alayhim. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Ameen. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladhina an'amta alayhim. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Ameen. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladhina an'amta alayhim. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Ameen. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Bismillah. One second. Astaghfirullah, Allah is the best of planners. Allah is the best of planners. May Allah bless this person who just felt the need to give me $1 just now. All praise to Astaghfirullah, brothers. Back to the prayer. Surah Ikhlas 4 times, inshallah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Qul huwallahu ahad. Allahu samad. Lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakun lahu kufuwan ahad. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Qul huwallahu ahad. Allahu samad. Lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakun lahu kufuwan ahad. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Qul huwallahu ahad. Allahu samad. Lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakun lahu kufuwan ahad. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Qul huwallahu ahad. Allahu samad. Lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakun lahu kufuwan ahad. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. If anyone wants to try Ikhlas real quick. Astaghfirullah, moving forward. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Surah Al-Falaq 4 times, inshallah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Qul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq. Min sharri ma khalaq. Wa min sharri ghasiqin idha waqab. Wa min sharri nafathati fil uqad. Wa min sharri hasidin idha hasad. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Qul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq. Min sharri ma khalaq. Wa min sharri ghasiqin idha waqab. Wa min sharri nafathati fil uqad. Wa min sharri hasidin idha hasad. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Qul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq. Min sharri ma khalaq. Wa min sharri ghasiqin idha waqab. Wa min sharri nafathati fil uqad. Wa min sharri hasidin idha hasad. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Qul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq. Min sharri ma khalaq. Wa min sharri ghasiqin idha waqab. Wa min sharri nafathati fil uqad. Wa min sharri hasidin idha hasad. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Ameen. Surah An-Nas 4 times, inshallah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas, malikin nas, ilahin nas, min sharril waswasil khannas, alladhi yuwaswisu fi sudurin nas, minal jinnati wan nas. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas, malikin nas, ilahin nas, min sharril waswasil khannas, alladhi yuwaswisu fi sudurin nas, minal jinnati wan nas. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas, malikin nas, ilahin nas, min sharril waswasil khannas, alladhi yuwaswisu fi sudurin nas, minal jinnati wan nas. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas, malikin nas, ilahin nas, min sharril waswasil khannas, alladhi yuwaswisu fi sudurin nas, minal jinnati wan nas. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Ameen. Astaghfirullah. Ayatul Kursi 1 time, inshallah. And then 2 prayers on the Prophet for Juma, all praises. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Allahu la ilaha illa huwal hayyul qayyum. La ta'khudhuhu sinatun wa la nawm. Lahu ma fi samawati wa ma fil ard. Man alladhi yashfa'u indahu illa bi'idhnihi ya'lamu ma baina aydihim wa ma khalfahum wa la yuhitun bi shay'in min ilmihi illa bima sha'a. Wasi'a kursiyuhu samawati wal ard. Wala ya'uduhu hituhuma wa huwal aliyyul azim. Ameen. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. We gotta do that 3 more times. Astaghfirullah. Allahu la ilaha illa huwal hayyul qayyum. La ta'khudhuhu sinatun wa la nawm. Lahu ma fi samawati wa ma fil ard. Man alladhi yashfa'u indahu ila bi itnihi yalamu ma baina aydihim wa ma khalfahum wa la yuhitun nabi shay'in min ilmihi ila bima sha wasi'a kursiyuhu samawati wal ard wala ya'uduhu hifdhuhuma wa huwal aliyyul azim. Amin. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahu la ilaha illa huwal hayyul qayyum. La ta'khudhuhu sinatun wa la nawm. Lahu ma fi samawati wa ma fil ard. Man dhal ladhi yashfa'u indahu illa bi idnihi ya'lamu ma bayna aydihim wa ma khalfahum wa la yuhitun bi shay'in min ilmihi illa bima sha'a wasi'a kursiyuhu samawati wal ard wa la ya'uduhu hifdhuhuma wa huwal aliyyul azim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahu la ilaha illa huwal hayyul qayyum. La ta'khudhuhu sinatun wa la nawm. Lahu ma fi samawati wa ma fil ard. Man dhal ladhi yashfa'u indahu illa bi idnihi ya'lamu ma bayna aydihim wa ma khalfahum wa la yuhitun bi shay'in min ilmihi illa bima sha'a wasi'a kursiyuhu samawati wal ard wa la ya'uduhu hifdhuhuma wa huwal aliyyul azim. Amin. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. 3 times prayer on the Prophet. Russia come to Bamba, inshallah. Bismillah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma asli ummata Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allahumma farijan ummati Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allahumma irham ummata Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Bismillah. Allahumma asli ummata Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allahumma farij an ummati Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allahumma irham ummata Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allahumma asli ummata Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allahumma farij an ummati Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allahumma irham ummata Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Salatul Fati 1 time. The close. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. We ask that Allah forgive us for all of our sins, known and unknown, committed, yet to be committed, everything in between. We ask for Allah to forgive us for all of our sins, known and unknown, committed, yet to be committed, and everything in between. We ask for Allah to forgive us for our sins, known and unknown, committed, yet to be committed, and everything in between. We ask, thank Him for His continuous protection. We ask Him to protect our Shaykh in his travels, continue to raise his station, give him a long, healthy life, all praises. May Allah protect all of our families, all those joined close to us, keep us within His proximity, continue to increase our light, soften our hearts, all praises. May Allah give us the wisdom to receive this message this evening from the oracle, all praises. And we thank Him, we love Him, we appreciate. All praise, Astaghfirullah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Salatul Fati. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad al-Fatihi lima uglika wa katimi lima sabaka nasir al-haqi bil-haqi wal-hadi ila siratika al-mustaqim wa ala alihi haqqa qadrihi wal-miqdari al-adim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. 3 more times. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad al-Fatihi lima uglika wal katimi lima sabaka nasir al-haqi bil-haqi wal-hadi ila siratika al-mustaqim wa ala alihi haqqa qadrihi wal-miqdari al-adim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad al-Fatihi lima uglika wal katimi lima sabaka nasir al-haqi bil-haqi wal-hadi ila siratika al-mustaqim wa ala alihi haqqa qadrihi wa miqdari al-adim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad al-Fatihi lima uglika wal katimi lima sabaka nasir al-haqi bil-haqi wal-hadi ila siratika al-mustaqim wa ala alihi haqqa qadrihi والمقدار العظيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Barke Swing Salihu, 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 Barke Serene Salihu. Ameen. Astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Barakatuhu to the family, to the Darrah, all praises. Juma Mubarak. How is everyone this evening? Brother Habibi, I see you. Assalamu alaikum. Sheikh Idris Ba. Assalamu alaikum. Arlana Hereford. Salam, salam. I'm cutting y'all off. Astaghfirullah. Salam, Sheikh. Salam,
Wow.
salam. All praises. Good to see everyone this evening. The Oracle Zema Love Fire is here to give us another presentation on another beautiful Friday. Juma, all praise. We pray to everyone as well. And I'm going to give this microphone to Oracle Zema Love Fire. Assalamu alaikum, Oracle. How you doing this evening? All praises.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you so much, Sheikh Mustafa, the Jeff. I'm doing well. How's everybody doing, family? Everybody all right? Great. All right.
Feeling
Okay.
good, sis. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, Sheikh Idris. I see a good of people. Yeah, shout out to Sayeshe, Brother Noon, hey, Sister Carolyn, Sheikh Sally. Yes, Jeremiah.
Wa alaikum salam.
Alaikum salam. Marquette, Nurjan. Greetings to everybody.
Assalamu alaikum, Oracle. Peace.
Wa alaikum salam, Oracle. Zema Love Fire.
Well, I'm back again, and I'm so happy to be here. Just giving thanks for just being here in front of you all. Give thanks to Sheikh Sufi Ba, sending lots of love and respect his way. Maybe see him. Lies. All right, y'all. So today I wanted to talk about, I'm sure all of you have heard, I won't say all of you, but the majority of you at least, I've probably heard the 4 agreements. You know, this came up, you know, I'm always like meditating on what do I want to really share? What's, you know, I share what's on my heart for the time, you know, what is important for the times, for this particular time signature that we're in, that comes up in my spirit. I never know if I'm speaking to any one particular person or persons, but I know that what I say is for someone, and that a lot of times also includes myself. So I just wanted to share the 4 agreements, but from a slightly different perspective that I just kind of wanted to share with you all today. So I won't be super verbatim with everything, but I will go through them and expand on some of these concepts. And please do feel free to post any of your questions or any comments. I will be checking back any questions if you don't comfortable kind of jumping in and saying, hey, I have a question, but I will throughout the time stop and say, okay, you know, before I move on to the next section, I will ask if anyone has any questions or comments before we move forward, okay? All right, so yes, as someone said, this is a very powerful book. The 4 Agreements, it's a wisdom book by Don Miguel Ruiz. So I don't know, my camera's kind of weird, but it's a really good little read, you know, 130 pages, but packed full of wisdom and knowledge. But I just kind of wanted to go a little bit more maybe metaphysical and esoteric with some of the information, kind of fill in some gaps with some extra stuff to add to what is said here. So the first agreement is be impeccable with your word. Speak with integrity. Say only what you mean. Avoid using the word to speak against yourself or to gossip about others. Use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. Okay. So just in the title, we have to talk about what is the word and why is it so important that you are impeccable with your word? Why is that the first agreement in relation to the word? Well, we hear that in the beginning was the word, the original sounds or sound of creation, the vibratory frequency of shifting the unseen into the material molecular structures. This is what they now call chemistry. Originally spelled K-E-M at the beginning, I-S-T-R-Y, or K-H-E-M, I-S-T-R-Y, now spelled C-H-E-M-I-S-T-R-Y. So when we say in the beginning was a word, what was the word? Why is that the first rule? Why is that the first agreement? Because the word. So when we look into that, we see the word Om. Om is said to be the primordial sound of creation, the original vibration of the universe. From the first vibration, all other vibrations are able to manifest. So then what is primordial? Existing at or from the beginning of time. What is matter? Anything that occupies space and mass. So the official definition of chemistry is study of matter, analyzing its structures, properties, and behavior to see what happens when they change in chemical reactions. So that's basically like what I said, it's the ability to shift molecular structures, basically the unseen structures, to materialize into what we can see and what is something we can touch, maybe taste and smell, so to speak. We're talking about the senses. These are the components of creation. So now we're talking about sound, vibration in relation to what we create in our journey through our words. So be impeccable with your word, because what you say is what you create, because you're shifting those molecular structures through your sound vibration, through your frequency. So if we know we can use sound to create negativity and imbalance, and we can use sound to create harmony and beauty and balance. We have free will in that expression of whatever way you decide to go, but there's always a reaction to every action. Either way you use your ability to create. But there's other forms of creation in relation to sound, because all sounds we know we can't always hear, that is also utilized to create. When we talk about different species being able to hear certain sounds, like certain animals, we say like dogs or birds have a lower sense of hearing than humans do. So there's these other more subtle frequencies that are also a part of the creative manifesting energy. But hold on, I'm going somewhere with this. So if we talk about also why is the word the beginning of creation and sound to manifest what it is that you want, When we say Om, don't that sound familiar? Om. If you should just so happen to put an M in front of that OM, what do you have? Mom. And what do mothers do in a womb? Create, manifest life. When we say mom, mother, mama, umi, yay, all of these different words from different cultures is a sound that represents something that manifests and creates mass. Life. I was blessed to go to, back in 2019, a conference called the Mom Conference, literally, and it meant Meeting of the Mystics. Very powerful conference. But we dug so deep into this mom, mom concept that we just started coming up with all of these amazing acronyms for mom that blew our mind because, we went on, but I just wanted to share. It's like mom, meeting of the mystics, manifester of matter, mother of manifestation, molder of mud, magi of magic, maker of mantras, mantras of materialism. So now we understand why the first agreement has to be about sound, word, power, being impeccable with your word. When we speak, yes, mother of myriads, you better come on, Sheikh Idris Ba, yes. When we speak, right? The concept of understanding water and how when we speak is in connection to maritime law, which is the law of the seas. Because when you speak, it is a mixture of air and the water that makes your saliva, which creates a mist. So when you speak, your words are literally riding on the mist. When you speak in maritime, you're speaking water, you're speaking flow, you're speaking manifestation, literally. And the fact that a woman carrying a child is what? In water. You're sending out literally in the droplets of that mist is carrying the vibrations of what you just said into the universe as it is spoken. So I want you to really, really think about that. The next time we open our mouths to speak, what we're really sending out into the universe in those droplets of mist coming out of our mouth. And how that's going to go out into the universe and start shifting molecular structures to accommodate and assist in what you just put out there. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, Shay. So, oh, and I forgot one, the MOM. Manifestation of the mouth. We still in MOM. Manifestation of the mouth. Mathematics of motion. Don't we want to know why they took that M off of there? Why did they take that M off of there? It's always been about the mother. Didn't I say this last time? If you've made bayat, what does Sheikh Sufi say? Your bayat and blessings comes from your mother's side. Even Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba knew that. It's right there. It's right there. You're about to see a whole lot of mom concepts coming out because look, everything right now is about what is artificial to discredit the mom energy. Your food is GMOs, genetically modified organisms that's taking rights from the mom energy to create uninterrupted, interrupting her seed's ability to reproduce, creating sterile environments to interrupt the mom molecule. The control mechanisms, tampering with the water. Everything is fake. Body parts, mindsets, body image issues, a lack of being in your natural, pure state. Because somebody a long time ago spoke some words that casted some spells that messed up the flow. And that started to manifest and multiply. Manifestation of multiplication. What's today's math? Manifestation. Any questions about that? I'm gonna keep it short and sweet tonight. I'm not gonna hold us too long, but was there any questions or comments so far? Let's move on.
Flow.
Yes, someone speaking?
Nada said you flowing, all praises.
Ah, alhamdulillah. All right, so the second, the law of detachment. I'm sorry. No. The second one is don't take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you.
I told him I don't want the ragged.
Uh-oh. Okay. Don't take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality, their own dream. When you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. So what that says to me is to acknowledge the law of detachment. Because the law of detachment says in order to manifest our desires, we must release attachments to the outcome itself, as well as the path we might take to get there. See, because as long as we have the vision, you can have an end result vision of what it is you want to do. Okay, I want to buy this house. I want to be a homeowner. However, in your mind, your goal might be, okay, I'm gonna stay on this job and I'm going to be here for 2 years. I'm gonna stack my money, get my deposit together for this house, build up my credit, whatever that looks like. But then what do you do if you should be laid off from that job or, fired, or you no longer have that job anymore? things start to change. You have to move, somewhere else. Maybe you need to go take care of your mom or your parent is sick and live out of state. So you have to leave everything and go be with that parent and help. There's all sorts of scenarios. So the point is you have to keep the vision, but you can't be attached to the journey to that vision to the point where you cannot change when you need to, that you can't make the necessary movement or shifting your gears. People get stuck and can't shift their gears. And that's because you're too attached to the process instead of understanding that there is a particular outcome that can happen, but things will definitely change. You may think you're going to get there on a fancy airplane, but a car might pull up and you like, I ain't really want to go in the car, but that's the journey that has been decided for you. That's the journey that Allah wants you to have. That's the journey that you have to take. In life, I always say, ask yourself, are you the tortoise or the hare? Because if you are the hare, everything is quick, fast, and in a hurry. When you're always quick, fast, and in a hurry, you tend to miss the small details, probably most of the details that really matter. You can't smell the roses. You're not really taking your time to understand. You're skipping over so many key and pertinent details that by the time you actually you got to the finish line quite quickly, but you didn't really come with a lot of knowledge and information and wisdom. So for some people, when they're in that hare mode, that quick rabbit mode energy, you miss out on so much stuff that you realize I got to the finish line, but the win is not fulfilling. The win is not feeling, like how you thought it would feel. You don't feel the congratulatory self, acceptance in that, because you realize that you really didn't gain much on your fast journey. So you get to the top, but you can't stay there. You can't maintain that position because you didn't really create a strong enough base to actually stand on. It's like your foundation is full of cracks and isn't supported by anything real. So now the tortoise, taking this time, taking its breaks when it needs to, taking a rest, getting back up and going again, taking time to smell the flowers and the roses, taking time to have some conversations and to understand, taking time to do the research, taking time to study and understand self and what purposes and what you're actually trying to achieve, and being focused and really putting your best foot forward, because slow and steady also wins the race, but slow and steady wins the race with the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, so that when it finally does get to the end point or get to the top, so to speak, it can actually maintain its position. A lot of people don't reach their full gestation in life, if you will, or their highest levels of manifestation because of attachment issues in the first place. It's the reason why you stay in a relationship longer than you need to, because you believe that some kind of change is going to happen that you didn't see in the last 10 years, but for some reason you think it's still going to happen. Attachment is the reason why you stay at a job longer than you want to. The same job that you hate going to on every Monday and can't wait till it's Friday so you can have 2 days of the weekend to not be there. That job, it's the same. It's the reason why we have these habits that we can't break, because we have the habits because we're trying to fill voids with the habits in the first place. And most of our voids come from fear, because it is an attachment. I am afraid to let something go because I feel like I'm not going to have this, that, and that.
Hallelujah. Slow down, son. You're killing them. She's on fire.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Give thanks. So, detachment is also not about you not feeling. This is not about numbness. And that's where people get detachment messed up at. It's not a feeling of numbness or not feeling or not being able to be connected to anything. No, it's about you being connected to a process, but also being open for the opportunity for God to breathe into your plan. Listen, when we try to over control stuff, we're taking away the space for Allah to breathe in it. You have to leave room for God to maneuver and shape and mold and transmute as you go through that process. If you remain stuck, if you allow yourself to be crystallized in the wrong things, now you're attached to something that is going to be harder to break away from. So now we're talking about being in something, but not of it, right? You know, I love you deeply, but I can't love you to the detriment of me not loving myself first. When you can detach, you create space for things to materialize through you. When you are holding on to things, you are blocking the space. Everything can take form when it can channel through you, then you are open to receive. If you're hanging on to the dead weight, you don't have any room for the new stuff to come in. So this is the natural order of things for us to constantly be able to attach and detach, attach and detach. It's okay to attach to something. Listen, this is the thing. Because see, there's like laws that are overlapping with other laws. So this is the reason why it gets a little tricky. Because in the area of being a parent, you have children. So there's obviously going to be a certain amount of attachment to your children, to your seeds. So that's obviously not going to be as easy of something if you should ever be in a position to have to detach. That is going to be some of the hardest things you will ever have to detach from, should you have to, for reasons of saving yourself from something that is not on a level that you want to deal with. I mean, sometimes relationships don't work out, even if it is people close to you and people that you love. Abuse and mistreatment and whatever else, a lot of people find themselves in positions where they have to detach from close friends and relatives in order to thrive, in order to be able to, you know, shift that energy and allow things to come in and flow. Stagnation is definitely akin to attachment. If you want to change something, you have to actually change your frequency, change your habits, change whatever it is that you are attached to that has not been working. Attachment is another way of saying releasing what no longer serves you. Because it's God's way of saying, okay, the way you're trying to do this is not going to work. I want to get you there, but it's not going to happen like this. So, okay, let's rearrange, let's scramble. And sometimes that looks crazy. That looks like, oh my gosh, I lost my job. And then this happened and this happened. And I had a tire blowout on the way home. And then my aunt ended up in the hospital. And then like, people don't really understand like how sometimes change can come in and be so swift and so heavy that literally in a matter of days, everything looks completely different. And it's because sometimes God has to give you these tower moments where everything you thought you built or everything you may have thought was stable, it's like just a wrecking ball just comes in and whoosh, just knocks over your whole operation. And you're sitting there like, what is this? Why did this happen? Let me tell you why. Because the thing about Allah, the thing about God is your life, until you make changes and you detach from the things that are interrupting your flow of currency in your life, what happens is God is going to keep on setting you up in situations to remind you of what it is you need to be working on. It will not stop until you change that particular behavior, until you detach from that, until you implement something new. You will always be in that same cycle, that same pattern. As Ayanna Van Zant says, you have to interrupt the pattern. Most of our patterns are based on attachments. So if we know that, then going back to saying, don't take anything personally. Because you will show up in someone's life and you'll think that whatever the bad vibes or energy or dislike towards you that they're kicking, you may very well personalize that and think, oh, this person is, feel some kind of way, but in reality, most of the times people are projecting their own attachments onto you. If people are afraid to do certain things, they're also afraid for you to do it, or to see you do it, or to see you try to achieve it. Because that's saying, okay, if you go and do that, then it makes me feel some kind of way because I have within me to do it too, because you just showed me that it's possible. And I don't want to feel the shame or the inadequacies that come with me not wanting to try or not having the discipline to do. So I'm going to discourage you by saying things that don't have nothing to do with you. Because I have attachment issues. And I want you to be attached with me too. That's where your discernment has to start coming in. So, because by detachment, we reduce our suffering and stress. We accept the truth of what is, even if you don't want to accept it. You may not want to accept it. You may not want to accept that change has to happen and that you're looking at it. And that's where the fear comes in at. I'm afraid to accept this. So I don't want to accept it for anyone else either. Everything is a teacher. Most times the things that you don't want to accept as change, when you're being shown that this isn't going to work, this isn't where it's at for you, it's the part where you really don't have boundaries set for yourself either. Because it's the part where it's, well, how long do I keep trying to work an old plan? So ultimately, all we can focus on is the things that we can control, which is ourselves. And realize that allowing other people to have control over you, if it's not someone you can really trust, that really has your best interests at heart, which no one should ever want to even control you. It's really about you being able to trust someone that can help guide you along your path and help guide you through the necessary changes that need to happen so that you can come out of the fear that is attached to you personalizing everything and not being able to recognize when people are projecting what they personalize onto you. Any questions or comments about that? All right, let's move on. Don't make assumptions is the third agreement. Find the courage to ask questions and to express what you really want. Communicate with others as clear as you can to avoid misunderstandings, sadness, and drama. With just this one agreement, you can completely transform your life. You know, I had a mentor in the past give us a teaching about the importance of not making assumptions. And although it was funny, I'll share it with you because it's real. My mentor said, we don't assume because the word assume starts with the word ass. Assume. I'll break that up. Ass, assume. So don't be in, right? Because if you do that, you are that. Don't assume. It's so easy for us to look at people because we're so good at looking at what people have to determine what their value and their worth is. And that's where we get messed up at, because we like to judge people by their cover. We think by the cover of the book, we know what the contents are without actually having read a chapter or a page. We're going to assume that this person with this Dolce & Gabbana outfit on, with these Manolo Blahnik shoes and some Burberry scarf on or whatever, just dressed to the nines in this Lamborghini car, you know, the average person would look at that and say, hey, I want to be that guy. I want to be that girl. Or that's what I bet they live a great life. I bet, and so we make all of these assumptions. I bet they work really hard. I want to know what they do, and we get so caught up in that assuming that people are happy because they got some stuff, that they live in the life because they in a big house, because they can drive around in their high-end cars and, and they just got money out the wazoo, that they must be living the life. But you know what? Last time I checked, millionaires were still suicidal and committing suicide. Last time I checked, wealthy people were still dying from the same diseases as the so-called poor people. They still having heart attacks and brain aneurysms and kidney failure and all forms of cancer, just like the rest of us that don't have those big houses and those big cars. Okay, so what are we really talking about here? What really is value then? To know that sometimes people who live very simple and very plain, who don't have all those things, have the health, the spiritual health, the mental health, the emotional health. It is said that there's no way you can become a billionaire for sure without having your hands a little unclean. Because what it takes to accumulate that amount of wealth, and for some millionaires too, the bad deals that you have to make in the music industry, the signing your soul away, these blood contracts, these terrible obligations you have to fulfill in order to have those things. Y'all don't even understand how most of these celebrities and football players and people you see on these red carpets and all that stuff, they stage all of this stuff to create this air of importance. So what if you got a little statue? Are you a good person? You got all these millions of dollars. Are you helping anyone? Has people having a lot of money added to their life expectancy? No, it has not. Sometimes fast life ends up in fast death. Sometimes slower life ends up in more longevity. And sometimes none of that is true and true all at the same time. Never, never, never find yourself in a space where you feel like you want to be in somebody else's shoes. You can't be in somebody else's shoes. As a matter of fact, you can't be nobody else because everybody else is already taken. So all you can be is yourself. So if you try to be anybody else, you're doing yourself a disservice. You're interrupting your own self. Most people have this concept of having this imposter syndrome. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that why do you have imposter syndrome if you're being yourself? You can only have an imposter anything because you're trying to be something else that you're not. So you have imposter syndrome because you're not being you. I feel like an imposter even to myself. Yeah, because your spirit is like, cut the cap. No, you assumed that you wanted to be that person over there because you thought the grass was greener over there. You want to be that woman. You want that BBL. You want those eyelashes. You want all of whatever. You want that video vixen body. And guess what? That woman is stressed out. She's ran through. She's misused. She don't have no self-esteem. She lacks confidence. No men really respect her. She's good enough to have fun with, but she ain't good enough to take home as wifey. But it's somebody watching her saying, I want to be her. Because you assume that she was happy and living the life. So don't make assumptions, because you don't know what people got to do to maintain the stuff that you see them with. How much of their soul has been taken from them in exchange for some trinkets. I've been in the music industry. Do you know what it feels like to have to perform? Let me tell you something. I think Beyonce got like 100 and something shows scheduled on a tour. Understand when an artist has a tour scheduled for 200, 300 dates in a year. You're doing sometimes 1 to 3 shows in one day. You could have a 7 p.m. show and then a 10 p.m. show and then a late night 12 a.m. show. Don't nobody care that you don't feel good. Don't nobody care if you got a fever. You better get out there and shuck and jive and dance, because we paying you good money to do this good slave work. And then we out here in the audience looking at them like, oh yeah, I want to live that life. Yeah, And you don't see them blisters on their feet from having to tap dance and dance all night. Them people ain't sleeping. They living out of suitcases. Don't get it twisted. You can't even go to the corner store and buy a bag of chips without the paparazzi in your face. You don't think that get tiresome after a while? You don't really want that. You just want it sometimes. You don't want that all the time. And then you bring children into that kind of lifestyle, and now they got cameras all in their face. Can't even have personal time growing up in front of the cameras. That's not attractive. If you really are trying to have some you time in your life, if you're really trying to really build something beyond just looking good for the cameras. Just like over here outside of the cameras, a lot of people just doing it for the cameras. We look at social media, everybody only posts the good stuff going on in their life. Very seldom do you see people really, they either overshare or undershare. That's the thing. They either overshare or undershare. But for the most part, everybody's sharing all the good things that go on in their life. And when people are constantly doing these photo ops and sharing these pictures of all these good things, we assume that they're happy. So you be happy with what you have, the way you have it, until you have it different, until things begin to shift. And see, the thing is, when you're supposed to detach from something and shift, when you know that and you don't do it and you keep second guessing yourself, I always say, if you wait on God to do it for you, it's not going to be as pretty as if you made the choice on your own accord. Because God ain't trying to necessarily make it easy for you. God is trying to get you to the finish line of what it is you're trying to manifest. So if that means some of your stuff got to be torn down because you didn't want to do it your way, you wanted to just let it happen instead of making it happen, instead of owning your responsibility and the changes that you need to make. Like I said, God, the universe is going to come in and going to shape things to make you do what you got to do anyway. So you might as well just get to work. And if you miss the ball completely, you want to come back and try it again? How many more times? How many more times will it take before you get the lesson? If you say you don't want to come back here, some people live their whole lives and miss their whole lesson. You know how many people? Listen, my mother is a retired nurse. Exactly. You will submit willingly or unwillingly. Exactly, Dr. Wali, Sheikh Wali. I'm telling you, please do your work and don't be concerned about what other people have and don't have and all the comparisons and saying, oh, I don't have this or I have that. Because we get to a place, even when we get to a certain age, the pressure that comes with age of certain things. If I had a dime for every time, listen, I'm in my early 40s. Listen, I don't have no problem saying I'm 42 years old. I don't have any children, but the fact that it is a constant conversation that I get all the time, you should have to, why don't you have, are you scared to have kids? And it's a whole thing. It's the whole like pressure, and it's the whole, we project and we assume all of these different things, and people are very aggressive about their projections of what they think you should be doing, what they think you should have. What I'm saying is, you be comfortable with how things are until things can shift, or you have to make certain things happen. What they say, well, you can't do the same things and expect different results. You can't. But for some reason, people keep bumping their head on the wall, bumping their head on the wall, bumping their head on the wall. Yeah, now you confused because you done did it so many times, you done gave yourself a concussion. I'm reading some of this. Exactly. Right. People, and you have to understand too, that people will try to live vicariously through you as well. That's one of the other reasons why, the attachment thing keeps coming up, because, people want to also attach to what it is that they think they want. Oh, how bad you really, really want to be on that casting couch. You want this that bad. I'm speaking coded language here. If you know about the casting couch, you know. So that's why I'm saying, when you see these big artists and these big people that's got a name out there, and you constantly hearing their music all the time, you seeing them on every media, they're on the cover of every magazine, they're doing, you seeing them all over the place, interviews here and you got to stop and ask yourself, first of all, how is this person just came out of nowhere? And how is it that you everywhere all of a sudden? Before you say, I want to be that. Because that might be some of the darkest stuff you could ever know, what that actually is and what is behind the that. Tend to the business that minds you. Any questions or comments about that agreement? All right. Okay, so the last one of the 4 agreements, always do your best. That's just pretty much summing it all up. Your best is going to change from moment to moment. It will be different when you are healthy as opposed to sick. Under any circumstances, simply do your best and you will avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and regret. All right, so this is really about pushing yourself past your glass ceilings and pushing yourself to keep going. We get stuck, because of whatever our challenges are, whatever our mental musings with ourselves are, whatever we tell ourselves, whatever self-doubt and negative self-talk that we say to ourselves. Okay, this goes back to the word. Always doing your best too, because look, I have to go back to talking about the word. I mean, because the negative self-talk, when you are always trying to do your best has to start with you and emanate outwards. It has to start within you, being the best version of yourself and letting that emanate outward. And that's what people should feel in your essence and in your presence. This is the reason why people can either say, "Ooh, that person gives off a negative energy," or "That person gives off a beautiful, loving energy." When you're not at your best, it shows and it's felt in your actions, in your speech, in how you carry yourself, in how you deal with challenges. Are you cool, calm, and collected when you're dealing with your challenges? Or are you belligerent and loud and extremely disagreeable and lack the ability to discern? Because sometimes that hot, fast, and in a hurry lifestyle doesn't always work when it's time to really slow down a little bit and be able to reason with a situation. Because to slow down means to be able to ponder and to think, to meditate, to take things into a deeper thought pattern, to go below the surface, down to the root. But if you want to go deeper, you can question the health of the seed that grew the root. Because sometimes we go into the roots that came from the bad seeds. And if the seed was bad, the root bad. And if the root bad, the bark is bad. And if the bark is bad, the branches is bad. If the branches is bad, the leaves is bad. And any fruit that you eat off that tree is bad. Same thing. We assume that even the tree may be good for us. It's beautiful. It grow these apples. But you don't know that the roots is infected. But everybody just want to be the beautiful tree. Nobody's asking what's behind the energetic makeup of the tree, of the thing, of the situation, of the word, of the sound, of the feeling, of the reaction, of the lacking, of the excessiveness, of the hiding. So, yeah. Exercising some form of, forms of discipline and self-forgiveness is very important. I talk about doing things on purpose as much as possible. Because when you do your best to do things on purpose, it means that you really thought about it before you did it. You really took some time to have as much understanding and clarity about whatever that thing is to really make a good, informed choice. So yeah, if you have not read this book, The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, I would definitely suggest that you get it. It's a small, easy page turner, and it's a lot more expanded information. But like I said, I wanted to kind of add some things to it that I felt connect the dots a little better. So it's called A Practical Guide to Personal Freedom. Isn't that what we are? We just want to be free, right? Free from a lot of the things that they don't want to give us freedom from. But freedom starts with you and your own personal expression and how you exercise your right of freedom. Freedom looks different from person to person, maybe even country to country, different ideologies. Freedom should look like being able to move about the world as a world citizen, not just as an American or as an African or as a Moroccan or as a European, whatever that is. We are world citizens, and it should not be hard or a block for us to move freely about the world without the so-called credentials of proof that you are alive and that you are a being in existence that should be able to move freely upon this world as your birthright. Everybody should have access to that as a birthright. Everybody should have access to good food. That is a freedom that we should have. Access to good, clean, non-GMO food. Up until the last 20 years, there was no need to call something organic because it was already being grown organic. So now if you want your stuff not grown with all the chemicals that can kill you, we're going to label it organic, and then we're going to make you pay a higher price for what was the norm a few years ago. I can guarantee you that if it comes on a menu that has a number, like McDonald's, let me get a number 2, a number 4, a number 5. If it comes that way, if there's a 99-cent menu there, if the meal comes with a toy, if there's incentives given to you to feed this to your kid, hey, come feed this to your child and we're going to give you a toy too. I just got to think about it.
Ouch.
Didn't they do the same thing with the vaccines? They gave you a voucher to go get you some steak and potatoes over there at Longhorn. It's the same programs, different names, same people, different products. You can't assume that the food is healthy, really, unless you're growing it yourself or you know somebody reputable. You can't assume. As a matter of fact, you can't even assume that what you're buying is actually organic, even though you're paying more for it. And I'm going to tell you why. I used to work for Whole Foods, and we had a manager over the produce department that was very much known for putting organic stickers on conventional produce when they were out. You don't even know what you're getting. You assume because you see that little sticker with that 9 on it. But they don't went back there and they don't washed all that residue off of them conventional produce and put that organic sticker on there. Everybody is not honest just because it's a corporation. Come on. I'm like, look, the brothers shooting craps don't even be honest with each other. And you expect the people on the larger level to be any better sometimes? Like you gotta look at the macro and the micro. The little man a lie to you, right along with the big man. And then there's a whole bunch of other stuff in between. So, yeah, be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. Always do your best. That's all we can ask for. If you apply that to your life and mean it, and not just believe it, but know it. See, we're actually out of the time of believing, and we're actually now in the time of knowing. What do you know as opposed to what you believe? Is your knowing higher than your believing, or is your beliefs higher than your knowing? Because you got to figure out how to get your beliefs on the side of the knowing. And if you can't get your beliefs on the side of the knowing because you balance it, because the checks and balances ain't balancing out, the math ain't mathing, then guess what? That means that you have to shift and you have to detach from that thing that you can't turn into a knowing. A belief is like, isn't a belief like an assumption? I mean, I believe this to be true, I assume this to be true. There it is. It's as simple as that. Exactly. Some of the comments. So on that note, I'm gonna end there. I'm gonna end there, and yeah, I feel completed what I need to say about that. Any questions or comments about the 4 agreements or anything you want to share or say? Anyone? Don't all go at
Assalamu
the
alaikum.
Walaikum salam, Sheikh.
Great job, spectacular job. That's actually one of my favorite books. I actually pull that out and read it once a year.
Yeah, it's important.
It's important. That book is a super banger. And I only got to come in on the tail end, but the 10, 15 minutes, I kept logging in. You was right on point with the attachment point. Like, there was some really deep medicine in it for anybody who was listening. There was some real deep medicine about holding on to attachments, thing I live, and I appreciate you, sister, putting that word in today. That's them out. Peace.
Give thanks. I appreciate it, Sheikh Zulu. Thank you. Anyone else? Got a comment or anything you want to share? Examples, experiences? Okay. And sometimes the message is simple enough to where, don't too much need to be said.
Assalamu alaikum, sis.
Walaikum salam, Sheikh Idris.
Beautiful, beautiful presentation. You
Thank
coming
you.
with the wisdom as always, but even more so tonight. I just wanted to bring forth one point where we talk about in Islam, speaking about your word, have you not heard that your word will be bond? And that speaks to what you're talking about with the 4 agreements about making sure that you follow through with the commitment that you make with your word. Your word should be bonded with your life. And if you say it, you have to stick by it and put your life force behind it, because that shows your commitment and dedication to what you say.
That's right.
So you're right on point.
Better Jeff, thank you so much. And that's so true. Your word is your bond. I mean, because what else do you really have besides the, what you really, truly, truly have is your body, your breath, your words, your senses, your hands, your appendages. That's what you really, truly have. So everything else outside of that, because we have to remember, listen, we came here with nothing but literally our bodies. And then when we came, somebody said, put some clothes on it. And then that created the culture of covering up and, getting into society as a clothed person. I mean, the shape of our feet have literally changed over the last couple of centuries since we've started wearing closed shoes. The toes are supposed to actually spread out like this, but now our feet are actually shaped like this because of the shape of the shoes that we have been wearing. Yes. All you really have is you. And when this flesh vehicle is done, you can't even take all that stuff with you. They talk about how all of the work that you do in your lifetime is really for someone else to enjoy, really. Like, you work hard for your children to enjoy it, or for other generations. You may not, because you spent most of your life working to build it up, that you spend the least amount of time enjoying the fruits of your labors than do the generations behind you. And it's really interesting when you think about that, because at the end of the day, you leave with what you came with. You came with yourself and you leave with yourself. That's how it goes. People remember what you said to them and how you treated them more than what you bought for them and the material things that you had. I was going to say earlier, the thought had got away from me and it came back around. I was going to say about, just really doing your best and living your life, because my mother is a nurse. And when I was a little girl, during holiday seasons or summertime, I would go to work with my mom and I would spend whatever 10, 12 hours we were there. Here I am, 9, 10, 11 years old in this nursing home every day, getting the opportunity to sit with people who were 70 something years plus, and I did this for summers for years. And as an adult now, I appreciate that opportunity, what it taught me, what I learned, the wisdom I picked up that I still can remember, the conversations of the good old days that they would tell you, them telling you what it was in the 20s and 30s and the roaring 40s and all of these different things, the 85-year-old woman who used to be an amazing, composer, in her heyday is now in this nursing home and teaching me how to play the piano, and she's still just playing like a pro, and I'm 8 sitting here like looking at this woman like, wow, this is amazing, and hearing, all of these amazing stories, and having conversations with elders about racism and self-empowerment and spirituality and all of these different things. I didn't know at the time the amount of knowledge that I was receiving, but also the amount of regrets. Oh, if I got nothing else from that experience, what I understood then is that regret, if you are blessed to get up in old age, if you left any leaves unturned, it is something that haunts you in your later days. Even if you're someone, it doesn't even have to be an eldership, just in sickness. I truly feel if you do your best to really live and not just exist, and to try all the things that you dream about doing, to at least say, I tried it, I experienced it, it didn't work, I had to shift gears and do something else, but I tried it. And so I feel whole and complete, and that I can move on from that because I know that I tried that and it didn't work. As opposed to, because if you don't try no time, you will never win regardless. There's actually power in trying and losing than not trying and not knowing if you would have lost or won. So at least when you get later on down the road, you don't have that regret sitting on your shoulders, sitting in the pit of your stomach. And like, oh man, if I had to do, I cannot tell you how many elderly people would say, young lady, if you can think it, you should do it. Live your life. Don't worry about what anyone thinks. If I had it to do over again, I would just go and I would travel and I won't wait and I'll just enjoy the foods I want to enjoy and just do, and see. And, I would have traveled more and I would have did and I'm like, no, like do that stuff, like do it, if you don't do it, if you don't, you really can't ever say that you're doing your best. Can you say you're doing your best if you're not doing your best to live the life that you actually envision for yourself, or at least trying? Trying and failing is a strong lesson and a good teacher, because sometimes it's not that you're not supposed to necessarily have that thing. Sometimes, again, it's about the fact that the way you're going about doing it isn't working. So now you need to change your mind, change the way you're going about it. Something has to shift. And if that thing doesn't shift, then you can't implement the change to get the different outcome that you're missing in the first place. So this is why learning has to be constant. Studying has to be constant. Being around the right people has to be constant. Having the right energy and the right discipline and making the best choices based on knowledge and truth as much as possible allows you to create things on a certain kind of purpose level, so that, again, you can say, okay, I did this with full on autonomy and focus. Okay, it's not for me. Okay, fine. So now I can move on to something else or try it differently because I know it's not going to work. And that's the part where people get stuck, because those attachments keep you from, like I said, shifting. Sometimes it's other people that try to sabotage you because of their stuff. So that's why you have to buckle down on who you are, what you want, what's going to work and what's not going to work in that moment. You have to be in your driver's seat. It's like, yes, because Allah is the vehicle, is the navigational, is your GPS, So all God is asking is like, okay, look, you driving, however, and I want to help you on this journey, but that's what I say. You have to invite God into all of these things. Where does God live in your word? You know what I'm saying? Where does God live in how you address things and how you deal with things, on a personal level? Where does God live at? Where does God exist in assumptions? It's a question to ask yourself. Does God exist in assumptions, or does God exist in exact truth? And if you're doing your best, that's your God essence in action. So those are the 4 basic agreements. We have a lot of agreements, a lot of agreements on different dimensions, but these agreements work very well in this 3rd, 4th dimensional place. So, all right. Any other questions or comments?
Thank you, Oracle Shaker Zema Love Fire. Well appreciated. Amen.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Sister Ariana, for your comments. Sister Ayeshe, Sister Taspia. I appreciate y'all. All right.
Applaud her now. Applaud her.
Give thanks. Thank you. And before Yay, thank y'all so much. And I did want to, I know there's a good bit of people on here who may be coming to the Alchemy of the Butterfly Retreat. So, if there's anyone who's on here that have any questions Since I'm the event coordinator for the event, I also wanted to share part of this space. If there's any questions or anything, I sent out a formal email Wednesday night. So if you registered, some of you registered through Sheikh Sufi, and so he's traveling and moving around a lot. So you may have sent him your email and phone number and information, and it may not have reached me just yet. So if you did register through Sheikh and you haven't gotten an email or any kind of correspondence from me from Wednesday, then please, reach out. You can privately inbox me on WhatsApp, but Zema Love Fire at gmail.com or 470-242-1659 so that I can make sure to get everyone their information, doing my best to keep up with everybody and keep up with your payment plans. So every time you make a payment, if you make a payment through Sheikh, you still need to let me know so that I can mark off what you paid and then what your balance is, so I can keep up with where everybody asks. If you ask me what your balance is, I want to be able to give you an exact number. All right. So we also have scheduled on I believe this Wednesday coming up. This Thursday. This upcoming Thursday, do we have a class scheduled? Do we have a class on Thursday evening in the Darrah, Sheikh Mustafa? Anyone?
Not at the moment.
Okay, good. I didn't think so. So we have a tentative date, of which the information is in the email for logging in, but we do have a date of next Thursday at 7 p.m. I believe Eastern Standard Time. It's either 7 or 8. I think 8 p.m. actually Eastern Standard Time, to have a group call for all of the attendees for the Alchemy of the Butterfly Retreat, so that I can go over any preliminary stuff. And I scheduled it to be pretty soon because I know some people still need to book their flights and things like that. So I wanted to go ahead and get a meeting. So if there's any questions, if you need clarity on certain things, I'm looking to get an Airbnb Thursday evening. So if you're flying into town, it'll be a house that'll be near the airport. So if for whatever reason, we look to try to coordinate rides as much as possible. But if you have to catch an Uber or a Lyft, it'll be a reasonable distance to be able to have somewhere to stay, so that way we can, trail each other or get on the road and you have somewhere to stay, because it's cheaper to do a collective situation, because it's about 8 to 10 people that want to kind of come the day before. I'm encouraging you to if you're driving up, if you want to be in the space the night before and you want to get there Thursday evening or Thursday night, I'll have that set up for us to kind of have a crash place to just kind of have some camaraderie for that Thursday night, and then we can all trail each other and ride up into the mountains. It's about an hour and 45-minute drive from the city for the most part. And we're going to be up in the mountains. Allah willing, the weather will be immaculate. But we will be on this 4-acre property. There's waterfalls out there. It's just beautiful trails, a big, huge house. So we're kind of doing it family reunion style. Listen, we're pretty much at 50 people, and the house really is to accommodate about 27 to like 28 people. So we're like very much over. However, what I'm telling people is, if you want to still come, in the email, there's still time if you still want to try to come. But the thing is, I did send in the email 3 different options for a hotel that's in the near vicinity of the house, if you want to go that route. However, you are welcome to, bring your sleeping bags, bring your air mattress or whatever, and kind of get in where you can fit in at. There's going to be a lot of people that's going to be kind of, just camping out and setting up camp, wherever you can find places. The house is 3 levels. So the downstairs level, I want to create what I want to call a Sufi market. So if anyone wants to come and you have any type of products that you make or that you know, want to sell, you know, please let me know, and we'll talk about getting you into the Sufi market. Okay. But if you're interested in doing the Airbnb, it would be $50 per person to get a house to accommodate, you know, that amount of people. And then they're going to add cleaning fees and all that kind of stuff. But there's really not going to be an Airbnb that I'll be able to get that's less than $300 and something. So if you're interested in doing that, and really starting in 300 something. So these houses aren't necessarily always that inexpensive, even when you just have them overnight. Because technically, I would be able to check into the house probably like 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon anyway. So if you're gonna schedule your flights, you know, early afternoon, you know, to evening would be ideal. You know, if you have to get a late flight in, we'll work that out. But during the day flights and earlier flights will be ideal. If you want to come in during the morning, that's fine. It's just a matter of I may not have the Airbnb set up by then or be able to get in the Airbnb that early if you're taking like a really early morning flight. But we'll figure it out. But yeah, please do make sure that I have your information. And everything that you really need to know is in the email. So I tried to be as thorough as possible to alleviate, you know, having to ask so many questions. Okay, hang on. Some people writing some stuff. Gift a lifeline window. Okay, so the sooner the better for paying. It is summertime and a lot of people are traveling. And so sometimes these Airbnbs kind of go. So as soon as you can, I'm gonna go ahead and get the Airbnb anyway, but you know, because we have to have it. But other than that, yeah, as soon as possible. If you're able to go ahead and pay, you know, the $50, if you're someone who, especially if you've already paid your full balance and everything to attend, you know, and you're able to pay the extra $50, I definitely encourage you. That would help a lot with the budget right now, being that we are, you know, most people are on payment plans than that paid outright. So if you are able to go ahead and pay the $50, or even if you're able to pay half, like, you know, I'll be happy if you're able to send $25 and do the other 25 later. Any of it would help for me to go ahead and lock in the Airbnb. So I just kind of wanted to touch on some of that stuff. Anybody have any questions or concerns about that right now? Okay, very good. I know how to reach you, so good deal. All right, well, Sheikh Mustafa, you gonna close us out? Is he still here?
Al-Fatiha. Bismillah for all praises. All praises. Bismillah for Rahman for Rahim for Alhamdulillah Alamin Rahman Rahim Malik Yawmuddin Kanabuduai Kanasta'ini Dinasda Mustaqim Sibitautin on Timalayan Garamub to be a lane with Lord. I want to thank everybody participating on Friday Night Darrah. Sheikh Mustafa is the facilitator. Sister Zema Love Fire, Oracle Zema Love Fire for that incredible presentation that definitely hit us home on us. A lot of resonates in a lot of areas, which like, so we want to again thank the sister. Hats off to you, sister. Hats off to you and everybody else. Hope that you hang up safe. You ain't got to get home safe, but we want you to hang up safe and continue to support our Darrah, support our We'll see you early Monday morning. Again, one more Al-Fatiha. Was Balana Lane to be a tongue one in the custody. Yalla wa talana kula bab and kuti fati sakarada yalla wa min kula adan to dir bin kubusani now yalla destroy any intentions to cause you harm before they get next to you. Salam alaikum. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Salam alaikum everyone.
Alaikum salam. Thank you so much.
Wa alaikum
Thank you.
salam.
Wonderful rest of your weekend.
Walaikum salam, Sheikh.
Alaikum salam.
Salam.
Rick, man.
Alaikum salam.
Alaikum salam.